Welcome back to the J&S channel as Passover creeps its way into the houses of Jews all over the world experiencing Passover. So let's dive deep into the episodes, and here we go. Without further ado, Passover. Now, every year Passover might feel like stress to you, but it's really an amazing holiday where Jews all over the world gather to tell the story of the Exodus, the dramatic, miraculous moment when God took the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt. You read the Haggadah, eat matzoh and bitter herbs, and learn and lean like royalty, celebrating the transition from oppression to freedom. Oppression. But there's something deeper going on here. The Haggadah doesn't just say, remember what happened back then. It says something radical. In every generation, each person is obligated to see themselves as if they personally came out of Egypt. Why is that case? Why not just remember the past like we do for other holidays? Because Passover isn't just about history, it's about identity, it's about transformation. Egypt, or Mitzrayim in Hebrew, comes from the root mitzur, meaning narrow place. Egypt was physical lands, yes, but it was also mental and emotional and spiritual place of constriction. And here's the truth. We all have our own Egypts. For some it's fear, for others it's self-doubt. It could be a toxic environment and an unhealthy relationship, or a feeling of being stuck in life. It might even be the belief that we aren't worthy of change or freedom. So when the Torah tells us to imagine ourselves as if we personally came out of Egypt, it's not just pretending. It's an invitation to reflect, what is my Egypt, and what would it have looked like to be free? Let's think about the Israelites for a second. They didn't just wake up one day and find themselves in freedom. Their journey started with small acts of courage. Moses said no to injustice, even though he was scared. The people put blood on the doors, even though it seemed strange. Nachshon ben Amminadab stepped into the Red Sea before it split, trusting that the path would appear. These acts remind us that freedom is often scary. It means taking risks. It means leaving behind what's familiar, even if it's painful. The Israelites could have stayed in Egypt, at least they knew what to expect there, but instead they chose to believe something higher. The idea that they could live with dignity, with purpose, and with hope. The Seder gives us beautiful symbols to help us think about this journey. Matzah is called the bread of affliction, but it's also the bread of freedom. It reminds us that the moment of redemption came quickly. We had to be ready. Sometimes when that opportunity for change comes, we can't wait. We have to grab it. Maror, or the bitter herbs, reminds us the pain of slavery, and we don't avoid it. We eat it. Why? Because growth requires honesty. We can't become free unless we confront the places that hurt. And in the middle of it all is the story. A story that we tell again and again in our own worlds. Because when we tell the story, we bring it to life. And when we place ourselves inside the story, we are empowered to change how it ends. There's a teaching from the Sfat Emet, a 19th century Hasidic Rebbe, who says the exodus from Egypt occurs in every generation and in every day. Freedom isn't a one time event. It's a process. Every day we have the opportunity to break free from a different Egypt. Every day we choose who we want to be. So this Passover, let's just not ask the 4 questions. Let's ask a few more. What is holding me back right now, right? What step can I take toward more honesty, more love, more light? Where is my own Red Sea, and how can I have the courage to step forward? Because the story of Passover isn't just the story of the past. It's a mirror, a map, a mission. May we all find the strength to leave our Egypt this year with faith, with hope, and with each other. Chag Pesach Sameach. So happy Passover all, and welcome back to the JNS channel. We have a special Passover episode today. And so I was really gathering and talking about how can I connect an everyday object to Passover? For example, how can I connect this pen right here to Passover? When you first look at this, you might not have any connect. But if we think about it, there are some really cool objects that you can connect, like a mirror. Why can you connect this? Because a mirror is about seeing ourselves in it. When we look into a mirror, we ask, where am I still in Egypt? What am I, a slave to fear, anger? And the Haggadah says each person must see themselves as if they came out of Egypt, which is why a mirror is work. A puzzle piece could work too. It's not literal. Puzzle pieces weren't around in Egypt, but freedom is about putting the pieces of ourselves and our stories together. Just like this puzzle piece is a part of a bigger picture, each of us has our own piece in the journey towards liberation. A small plant or seedling, it reminds us the freedom is a process. Just like the seedling grows slowly, our personal growth grows slowly, and leaving Egypt was not fast. It went slowly. And yeah, there's really some things to think about here. And next I want to share some of my midrash about the story of Passover, Pesach, and why it is so meaningful. Before the 10 plagues, the Haggadah mentions Davar Echad B'yad Chazakah Shtayim, with an outstretched arm, with a strong hand, and with signs. Those are 2. So, which plagues are with signs? And the Haggadah doesn't tell us out straight, but the way I interpret it and look at it is that only the first one and the last one are signs. The first meaning a warning before the first. God hardens Pharaoh's heart. The last one meaning the worst. Not all the plagues go least to worst, but the death of the firstborn is the last. God warned Bnei Israel by covering the doors. Pharaoh knew more plagues were coming, worse yet, but this shows that Pharaoh can't believe in God, can't believe in his own Moses. Therefore, Pharaoh can't see the signs of the plagues. Only Bnei Israel can, And that is a really strong meaning, because it comes out and shows how Pharaoh cannot see the signs of the plagues with his own eyes. Only Bnei Israel can. During the Passover Seder, there are a lot of groups of numbers. We have the 10 plagues, we have lots of 10s, but most of all we have lots of 4s. 4s meaning we have the 4 questions, typically the youngest one would ask. We have the 4 cups of wine, and we have the 4 children. But, there is a little bit of commentary that I put into the 4 children. Are there really only 4 children, or are there more? like the 5 rabbis? Are there 5 children? Let's dive deep into that. So I realized long time ago, about 30 years ago, at the age of 10, that there is more than these 4 sons. At the Seder, we are gathered around to talk about these 4 sons, but why? Here's a midrash I like to use. Each of the 4 sons has a Torah, but not all Torahs are the same. These 4 children are the wise, the contrary, the simple, and of course the one who does not know how to ask. The reading says he is not saying that he is incapable of speaking, just incapable of asking. The wise child speaks, "What is this that the Lord has commanded?" Why is the wise child wise? Because he notices that tonight is different from all other nights. The wise child keeps his Torah in a special spot. The book is clean and not dirty. The contrary child speaks, "What is all of this?" He grinds his teeth and speaks with an attitude. The contrary Torah keeps his Torah on the ground. It is dirty. The word Torah is crossed out. The child has never even had the time to read it, and took the time to read it. The simple child speaks, "What is this?" The same question that the contrary child asks in a different form. He keeps his question simple. The contrary, therefore, the simple child's Torah is simply in English. He will never get the full understanding of the Torah, since the full understanding is in Hebrew. Finally, the 5th child, and I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there at your Seder table saying, "There is no 5th child." You are not wrong, just mistaken. Thus is said, "Who is this child?" It is the indifferent child, different from all the others. He excludes himself from coming. He is simply not interested. The child has no Torah because he is simply not interested. This is reminding us that we have the opportunity to be part of the Seder. Take the time to invite people to your Seder. We don't want them to be like the indifferent child. So many of you think that the wicked child is actually the bad one, but in this case, it's putting the bad one as the indifferent one, because the wicked one is at least at the Seder table, but the indifferent child isn't even there. So I'd really appreciate that you take the time to invite someone. Well, go have fun baking up those matzoh balls, cooking those noodle soup, cooking matzoh ball soup with the grandmas. Have fun setting the Seder table. And thank you for listening to the JNS channel, the Passover special. Have a good Passover, Chag Sameach, and see you after Passover.